Oppenheimer is the story of Robert J. Oppenheimer, his life and his involvement in the creation of the atomic bomb. It's directed by the amazing director Christopher Nolan. First of all, just let me say this. The script is amazingly well written. Christopher Nolan has taken a lot of research into writing the script. I'm sure you can tell that this film has been well researched, and the script is written so well. I love the way the story is structured. At first I was a bit confused, but then it started making sense. I really like how the story is structured while it's telling multiple different stories all about the same thing. It works really well. First I was finding the structure of the movie a bit too much. I was finding it hard to keep track of the movie. This movie seemed really confusing. But then after getting used to it a bit, the movie made sense to me, and I like the way it was structured a lot. It's a very clever way of structuring a movie, and I give huge props to Nolan for doing that. Cillian Murphy kills it as J. Robert Oppenheimer. He is an amazing actor, and Robert Downey Jr. is excellent in his role. Technically, whoa. This movie was so well made technically. The look of this movie, I just love. I love how some scenes are shot in black and white. I think that's a really good choice. The black and white sequences look great. The colour sequences look great. Every shot in this movie looks great. And the CGI. Well, there is none. There is no CGI. It's just practical effects. And I'm just stunned to hear that. Because this movie looks like it was made using CGI. When you're seeing all this atom stuff, this sciencey imagery, you think it is CGI. You'd swear it is CGI. But Nolan says that he did this all with practical effects, making cameras. It looks really fancy. It is extremely impressive when you think that there is no CGI. That just blows my mind away and makes me appreciate the movie so much. This is one of the best looking movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm in awe at how they did the practical effects. This movie just looks so good, and I cannot say how appreciative I am of this. A movie that is finally not being a CGI overload, just using practical effects. This feels like the kind of movie that we don't get much nowadays. And I'm so glad we got it. And I'm so glad people have chosen to support this film. This film is not an easy watch, and I'm so glad people chose to support this movie. We need more movies like this in the future. And I'm so glad this movie made so much money, as this is proof that cinema is not dying. People are willing to go to the cinema to watch movies other than superhero movies. And I'm just so glad to see that a movie like this succeeded as well as it did. The music score is done so well in this movie. And the sound design. The sound design during a test explosion sequence. Whoa, was the sound design good. And I love the shallow depth of field they use in a couple of shots. Christopher Nolan. You were able to take us into the mind of such a complex person, to see what they were thinking, what they probably were thinking, how they would have responded. It was so interesting, and I love the way your story is structured through several different conversations, and yet it all makes sense. I love that. It was so interesting, and I love the way your story is structured through several different conversations, and yet it all makes sense. I love that. And you've done really well in this film. You are the reason why I love supporting films. I'm a cinephile, I'll admit that. I love watching movies. This is the kind of movie that makes me feel extra happy about movies. I just love this movie, and I'm so happy I saw it. But is Oppenheimer a perfect movie? No. It's almost 3 hours long, and it's a little bit too long. After the bombing happens that ends the war, the movie drags on a bit. I know that some of the sequences were very important and had to be in the movie, like this amazing conversation sequence near the end of the movie. You'll know the one I'm talking about. It is an amazing sequence that I absolutely love, but the movie does go on a bit too long. There's a lot of stuff that could have been cut that was losing my attention. The movie is just a little bit too long. Normally, I'd be a bit more critical in this film for the grade, but this film floored me. I was so impressed by this. This is the kind of movie that inspires me to make movies. It makes me think, I want to make movies, and I want to see more movies like that. This movie inspired me. I'm gonna give Oppenheimer an A. I hope you guys check this film out. I love this film, and I highly recommend you guys see this. This was a lot. This was a great watch, and it's a difficult one. But that doesn't mean it's not a good film. It's a great film, just please check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm the Grinning Critic, and don't forget to subscribe to me.